Questions. My dear friends, consistency is a very strange thing. Everyone wants it, but very few are willing to actually force themselves to build it. We all want results, but we don't always want the routine. Questions. We want the fruit, but we don't want to water the plant every day. And because of this, many dreams stay in the wish list section of our life rather than the achievement section. Today, questions. I want to talk to you about something very simple, but very powerful. Force yourself to be consistent. But there is a beautiful Chinese bamboo tree. When you plant its seed, questions, nothing happens for 1 year, nothing for 2 years, not even a single inch for 3 years. 4 years go by, still nothing. If you didn't know how this plant works, questions, you would assume it's a useless seed. But in the 5th year, something magical happens. In just 6 weeks, the bamboo shoots up 80 feet tall. Now here is the question. Questions. Does the bamboo grow 80 feet in 6 weeks? No, my friends, it grows 80 feet in 5 years, because all those years it was building its roots. If the farmer had stopped watering it after year 1, questions, thinking nothing is happening, the bamboo would have died under the soil. Likewise, many of us quit in year 1, month 1, questions, or even week 1, not realizing that success first grows underground in silence. Consistency is not about instant visible results. It is about invisible growth. Let me give you a simple example. Questions. Imagine going to the gym for 1 day, exercising for 5 hours. Will anything change? Probably not. But if you work out 30 minutes every day for 6 months, will something change? Absolutely. Questions. Greatness doesn't come from intensity. It comes from consistency. Even the sun doesn't rise intensely, it rises consistently. Even the river doesn't cut through mountains with power. Questions. It cuts them with persistence. Your habits are like that river. They may start small, tiny ripples, but with consistency, they can carve your destiny. Questions. In life, the most powerful growth often happens where no one can see it. It happens quietly, slowly, patiently beneath the surface. Consistency rarely gives you instant applause. Questions. It rarely shows quick results. It rarely rewards you immediately. And that is exactly why so many people give up too early. Because they confuse silence with failure. But silence is not failure. Questions. Silence is preparation. Silence is where your roots take shape. Think about a very simple example from daily life, learning to play a musical instrument. The first few weeks, your fingers hurt. Questions. Your notes sound wrong, and your rhythm is nowhere close to correct. You look in the mirror and wonder, why am I even doing this? I'm not improving at all. But something unseen is happening. Questions. Your fingers are developing muscle memory. Your ear is learning to differentiate notes. Your hands are developing synchronization. None of this improvement is visible, yet it is happening. And one day, questions, maybe months later, the same person who struggled with one chord suddenly plays an entire song. People say, "Whoa, you got so good so fast." And you smile because you know it wasn't fast. Questions. It was built in the invisible space of daily effort. This is how life works. All meaningful progress begins underground. Take another example, fitness. You go to the gym for 2 weeks, questions, and the mirror doesn't show much change. You think it's not working, but your body is adapting. Your stamina is building. Your metabolism is improving. Your muscles are learning to activate. Questions. Your discipline is strengthening, all invisible. Nobody claps for you when you drink water instead of soda. Nobody celebrates you when you choose the stairs instead of the elevator. Questions. Nobody sees you say no to late night junk food. But all those invisible choices create a visible transformation later. The results show up months after the effort began. Questions. The world sees the flower, it does not see the buried seed. The world applauds the success, it does not notice the sleepless nights. The world admires the results, it does not honor the lonely effort. Questions. The roots always grow before the branches. Let's think of something even simpler. Students preparing for exams. A student sits down every day to study for 1 hour. On some days, questions. Nothing goes into the brain. On other days, they feel tired, but they still show up. A friend might study only the night before and still get decent marks sometimes. That can be discouraging. Questions. But here's the truth. The student who studies consistently is building a mind that can handle pressure, remember better, understand deeper, and perform stronger. Questions. These roots are invisible during the preparation phase. But during the actual exam, the confidence, clarity, and calmness they feel. That is the result of weeks of invisible work. Questions. Consistency is like depositing money into a bank account. 1 rupee doesn't change anything. 10 rupees doesn't either. But when you keep depositing small amounts every day, questions. One day you look at the balance and think, where did all this money come from? It came from tiny, invisible, consistent actions. Let's look at relationships too. A marriage, a friendship, questions. A partnership, none of them stay strong because of one grand gesture. They stay strong because of tiny acts of kindness repeated consistently. Saying thank you, listening with attention, questions, helping without being asked, appreciating small efforts. These are the invisible roots that make relationships unbreakable. You cannot buy lifelong trust with one big Valentine's Day gift. Questions. You build it with small daily actions. The problem is many people stop watering their bamboo tree too early. 1 month of gym, they quit. 2 weeks of reading, they stop. Questions. 10 days of practicing gratitude, they forget. Why? Because nothing visible has happened. But visible results come after invisible discipline. Always look at nature before a bird flies. Questions. It spends weeks flapping its wings in a nest. Before a flower blossoms, it spends days hidden inside a bud. Before the sun rises, the sky turns dark blue. Before a baby walks, it falls dozens of times. Questions. Before a masterpiece emerges, the artist throws away hundreds of drafts. Everything valuable demands an invisible phase. Your dreams are no different. Whether it's learning a skill, questions, starting a business, improving your health, building a routine, creating content, or developing spirituality. You must embrace the phase where your effort is growing roots, not fruits. Questions. The roots are your character. The roots are your discipline. The roots are your perseverance. The roots are your stability. The roots are your patience. If your roots are strong, questions, your success will stand tall no matter how strong the storm. So the next time you feel like quitting because nothing is happening, remember this: something is happening. Questions. You are growing in ways the mirror cannot measure. You are building strength the world cannot see. Your consistency is working silently beneath the surface. One day, the world will see your growth. Questions. One day, the results will surprise even you. One day, people will call you lucky, but you will know the truth. It was the invisible roots you built through consistency. So don't stop. Questions. Don't lose patience. Don't underestimate small daily actions. Every drop fills the ocean. Every step builds the journey. Every repetition builds mastery. Questions. Consistency always pays, not immediately, but eventually, inevitably, undeniably. Keep watering your bamboo. It's growing roots right now. Questions. Motivation is like a spark. It lights up quickly, burns brightly for a moment, and then fades away just as fast. Discipline is like a steady flame. It burns slowly, consistently. Questions. And keeps you warm even when the wind blows. Many people start their journey because they feel motivated, but only those who stay disciplined reach the finish line. Think about this honestly. Questions. How many times have you watched an inspiring video at night and said, "From tomorrow, I will change my life"? Then tomorrow arrives, and suddenly your blanket feels warm. Questions. The alarm feels irritating, and your goals feel too heavy. The motivation you felt at night disappears by morning. Why? Because motivation doesn't live with you, it only visits you occasionally. Questions. If you choose to depend on motivation, you will only work when you feel inspired. And feelings are the most unstable things in the world. Imagine brushing your teeth only when you feel motivated. Questions. Sounds silly, right? You brush because it must be done, not because you enjoy it. That is discipline. Many of the important things in life are not done out of excitement. Questions. They're done out of commitment. But here's the miracle: once you build discipline, the things you used to avoid become part of who you are. Questions. Let's take a very simple daily example. Waking up early. For the first few days, motivation might help you jump out of bed. But soon the mind will start bargaining. Questions. Just 5 more minutes. You slept late yesterday. It's too cold today. This pillow feels extra comfortable right now. And slowly, the early morning plan fades away. Questions. But someone who lives with discipline will wake up regardless of mood. They don't ask themselves, do I feel like waking up? They simply wake up. Discipline makes the decision, emotion does not. Questions. Another great example is going to the gym. Motivated days feel great. You lift more, you smile more, you feel unstoppable. But discipline is tested on the days when you feel lazy, tired, stressed. Questions. Or unproductive. A disciplined person says, even if I do just 30 minutes today, I will show up. And that one simple decision, repeated again, builds a strong identity. Questions. You stop being a person who goes to the gym. You become a person who never misses the gym. The truth is, motivation is an emotion, but discipline is a choice. Questions. And choices shape destiny far more than emotions ever can. Consider students studying for exams. Motivation may help them study for a day or two. Questions. Especially after a teacher scolds them or a class topper inspires them. But discipline is what helps them sit every day, open the book even when they feel bored. Questions. Keep going even when the chapter feels difficult, and remain focused even when distractions attack. It's not talent that tops the class, it's discipline. Questions. Or think about someone trying to save money. Motivation begins with enthusiasm. From today, I'll save $5,000 every month. But then sales, food cravings, outings, questions, and online shopping come calling. Suddenly, the saving plan collapses. A disciplined person, however, saves first and spends what remains. They don't let temporary desires disturb long-term security. Questions. Even in relationships, motivation works only at the beginning. During the early days, people naturally make effort. They call more, text more, plan surprises. But over time, the novelty fades. Questions. What sustains a relationship then? Not the butterflies, not the excitement, but discipline. The discipline to listen, to understand, to communicate patiently. Questions. To show up consistently even on difficult days. The strongest relationships are built not on emotional highs, but on steady daily habits. Let's talk about diet. Questions. Motivation helps you eat salad for 2 days. But discipline helps you avoid junk when your friends order burgers. Discipline helps you say no when cravings attack late at night. Questions. Discipline helps you continue even after a bad day. Motivation disappears after the first craving. Discipline holds your hand through all of them. And what about personal development? Questions. Motivation will help you meditate once. Discipline will help you meditate every day. Motivation will help you read a few pages. Discipline will help you finish the book. Questions. Motivation will help you write one journal entry. Discipline will help you for the entire diary. Motivation pushes you to start. Discipline pulls you forward when you want to stop. Questions. Here's a beautiful truth. Discipline eventually creates motivation. The more you show up, the more progress you see. The more progress you see, the more motivated you feel. Questions. The more motivated you feel, the easier discipline becomes. It's a cycle. But discipline is what starts the wheel. If you look around, you'll see that every successful person, athletes, questions, Artists, entrepreneurs, students, monks, professionals all rely on discipline more than motivation. Champions don't train because they feel like it. They train because it must be done. Questions. Writers don't write only when inspired. They write because writing is their duty. Musicians don't practice only on good days. They practice because practice builds excellence. Questions. Your dreams don't need your mood. Your dreams need your commitment. So the next time you wait for motivation, remind yourself, I don't need to feel ready. I just need to begin. Start small. Questions. Start slow, start imperfectly. But start with discipline and keep going. One day you will look back and realize that your transformation didn't come from a few big moments of motivation. Questions. But from hundreds of small silent days of discipline. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the engine. The spark starts the journey. The engine takes you to your destination. Questions. Choose discipline. Your future self will thank you. Questions. The journey toward greatness often begins in the most humble, quiet, almost unnoticeable way, with a single small step. Many people never begin because they think the beginning has to be dramatic. Questions. They wait for the perfect moment, a huge burst of energy, or ideal conditions. But life doesn't reward the one who waits, it rewards the one who starts. Not perfectly, not powerfully, but simply. Questions. Think about how a child learns to walk. The first step is tiny, unstable, and wobbly. But that one small step completely changes the destiny of that child. He doesn't wait for balance training. Questions. He doesn't wait for confidence to magically appear. He takes a step, falls, tries again, falls again, laughs at his own attempts, and continues. That small, imperfect beginning leads to running. Questions. Jumping and climbing later. The progress comes from the courage to start, not from waiting to be perfect. In daily life, we often delay important habits because we overestimate what we need to begin. Questions. Someone wants to start reading, but instead of picking up a book for 5 minutes, they wait to buy the perfect bookshelf or find the perfect reading time. Someone wants to start meditating. Questions. But they wait to learn the right technique, get a new cushion, or find absolute silence. Someone wants to start exercising, but they wait to get the perfect shoes, the perfect gym. Questions. Or the perfect motivation. And in all this waiting, months pass, opportunities slip away, and dreams remain untouched. The truth is simple: small beginnings break big resistance. Questions. Let's imagine you want to start a habit of reading books. If you tell yourself, I'll read for 1 hour every day, your mind immediately resists. 1 hour sounds heavy. Questions. Especially in a busy routine. But if you tell yourself, I'll read 1 page today, your mind relaxes. 1 page feels easy. And once you begin reading that 1 page, questions, you often end up reading more without even planning to. Starting small lowers the barrier between intention and action. Or consider someone who wants to get fit. Questions. Many people buy expensive gym memberships, fancy water bottles, fitness trackers, and new workout clothes, but still don't start exercising. Meanwhile, questions. Another person decides to do just 5 minutes of stretching at home. The first person, despite all the resources, remains stuck at the starting line. The second person, questions, with nothing more than commitment, begins the journey. That 5-minute routine grows into 10 minutes, then 20, then a full workout. Consistency grows on the foundation of small beginnings. Questions. Even in spirituality, small steps matter deeply. If someone wants to meditate, they don't need to sit for 20 minutes on the first day. Just 1 minute of calm breathing is enough to start the habit. Questions. In that 1 minute, the mind learns silence. Slowly, the silence expands. And before you know it, meditation becomes a peaceful part of life. Questions. But this transformation begins with a tiny step, 1 minute of willingness. Let's take a real life example from someone learning a new language. Questions. The thought of mastering a language feels overwhelming. There are grammar rules, pronunciations, vocabulary lists, sentence structures. Too much to absorb at once. Questions. But if someone learns just one new word every day, something magical happens. In 1 month, that person knows 30 new words. In 6 months, 180 words. In 1 year, questions. 365 words. Enough to form sentences and conversations. A person becomes knowledgeable not by learning everything at once, but by learning a little every day. Questions. We often underestimate the power of small steps because they look insignificant in the moment. But small steps compound. They accumulate. They stack up silently. Just like drops fill a bucket. Questions. Steps fill a journey. Slowly, quietly, but surely. Even in career growth, people who rise to excellence don't begin by giving big presentations or managing teams. They begin by mastering small tasks. Questions. Arranging files neatly, sending emails properly, showing up on time, completing small assignments with sincerity. These little actions build reliability. Reliability builds trust. Questions. Trust opens doors to bigger responsibilities. And suddenly people say, wow, how did they grow so quickly? The truth is, they didn't grow quickly. Questions. They grew consistently from small beginnings. Another daily example, keeping your room clean. Many people feel overwhelmed seeing the mess and think, questions. I'll clean it this weekend. But that weekend never comes. Instead, try cleaning one small corner for just 5 minutes. Once you start, you build momentum. Before you know it, questions. The whole room starts transforming. The weight of the task disappears once you take the first small step. Starting small also removes the fear of failure. When you take small steps, questions, the pressure is low. There is no fear of making mistakes. There is no fear of judgment. Small steps allow you to experiment, adjust, learn, and grow comfortably. They build confidence gently, questions, without overwhelming you. And here's the beauty: immediate action creates identity. Questions. The moment you start, even in the smallest way, you shift your identity from I want to be to I have begun to become. A person who writes just 2 lines today becomes a writer. Questions. A person who walks for 5 minutes today becomes a fitness starter. A person who reads 1 page today becomes a learner. A person who meditates for 1 minute today becomes a seeker. Questions. You don't become great when you finish, you become great when you begin. So, start smart quietly, start imperfectly. Questions. But start today, because every big dream in the world began as a tiny step taken by someone who refused to wait for the perfect moment. Questions. We often wait for the perfect moment to begin something new, thinking that one day, magically, everything will align. Questions. But the truth is that perfect moments don't come. They are created by small beginnings. Starting small is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of wisdom. Questions. The biggest mistake most people make is believing that they must start big to achieve big. But look at every great thing around you. Each one started with a small, almost invisible step. Questions. Think about fitness. Many people say, from next month I'll join the gym. Or I'll start working out once I buy proper shoes, proper clothes. Questions. Proper diet plan. And in the process of waiting for perfect conditions, weeks and months slip away. The person who simply decides to walk for 10 minutes today is already ahead. Questions. You don't need a perfect gym to begin. You need a pair of legs and a decision. Starting small is powerful because small is manageable. Small doesn't frighten you. Questions. Small doesn't overwhelm your mind. If you tell a mind, let's run 10 km today, it will fight back, give excuses and resist. But if you say, questions, let's walk for 5 minutes, the mind agrees. And once you begin, momentum carries you forward. Many long journeys are completed because someone said, questions, let me at least take one small step. Take the example of learning a language. If you try to learn everything in one day, you will burn out. Questions. But if you commit to learning just 5 new words each day, in 1 year you'll know 825 words. enough to speak confidently. 5 words take less than 2 minutes to learn. Questions. Starting small eventually leads to extraordinary mastery. Consider reading. Many people want to read books but feel overwhelmed by thick volumes, long chapters, or lack of time. Questions. But if you decide to read 1 page a day, that's 365 pages a year. Easily 5 or 6 books. 1 page takes 2 minutes. A small start but a powerful result. Even in saving money. Questions. People think they need to start with a huge amount. But saving hot or 20 or 50 a day doesn't feel like much. Yet in a year you save thousands. You train your mind to save. You train your habits. Questions. You train your financial discipline. Starting small builds financial muscles. In relationships, too, small acts of kindness matter more than grand events. A good morning text, a short call. Questions. A gentle smile or a few mindful minutes with someone can strengthen bonds more than an expensive gift once a year. The small things done daily carry more weight than big things done occasionally. Questions. Look at children learning to walk. They begin with small unstable steps. They fall, they wobble, they get up, they try again. No child waits for the day they can walk perfectly. They start imperfectly. Questions. They start small, and that is why they succeed. In your professional life, waiting for the right time delays progress. Want to start a business? Start with 1 customer. Want to create content? Questions. Start with 1 video. Want to write a book? Start with 1 paragraph a day. Everything big you admire in others began as something small that they dared to begin. Questions. The beauty of starting small is that it builds consistency. And consistency builds confidence. Every day you show up, even for 5 minutes, you slowly become the kind of person who follows through. Questions. Small steps rewire your identity. I am someone who does what I say. I am someone who improves daily. I am someone who keeps going. Small beginnings remove fear. Questions. Small beginnings remove pressure. Small beginnings create movement. And movement, even slow movement, is better than standing still. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for confidence. Questions. Don't wait for the environment to support you. The moment you take 1 small step, the universe takes notice. Doors begin to open. Energy begins to flow. Your journey begins with a whisper. Questions. Not a roar. Start small, start imperfectly, start quietly. But start today. Key point 4. Show up even when you don't feel like it. There are 2 versions of you. Questions. The version that acts when it feels inspired, and the version that acts even when it doesn't. Success belongs to the second version. Life will not always give you perfect conditions. Questions. There will be days when you are tired, when your mood is low, when your energy is weak, when your mind is distracted. But these are the days that shape your character. Questions. Anyone can work on the days they feel good. Champions are made on the days they don't. Imagine a student preparing for exams. On some days, studying feels easy. The mind is sharp. Questions. The notes make sense. But on many days, the mind is cluttered, the body is tired, and distraction feels stronger than discipline. Questions. The student who studies only on good days will never reach their true potential. But the one who studies even when it's hard grows mentally, emotionally, and academically. Questions. Showing up on difficult days builds a different level of self-respect. Take fitness. The easiest day to exercise is Monday morning, after watching a motivational video on Sunday night. Questions. The hardest day is when it's raining, when you've had a long day at work, when your body feels heavy. But the body finds real growth on these difficult days. Questions. The one who shows up anyway becomes unstoppable. Writers don't always feel creative. Some days words flow like a river. Other days the mind feels dry. But a true writer sits down regardless. Questions. They show up to the page. They write something, even a few lines. That consistency creates brilliance. Artists don't always feel inspired. Musicians don't always feel enthusiastic. Questions. Entrepreneurs don't always feel confident. Parents don't always feel energetic, teachers don't always feel patient, but they still show up because showing up is a choice, not a mood. Questions. The mind loves comfort, it will whisper. Questions. Just skip today. You deserve a break. You can do it tomorrow. But we all know that tomorrow is often a lie the mind tells to avoid effort. Questions. Showing up even when you don't feel like it builds mental toughness. It teaches you that your actions are not controlled by emotion. You teach your mind, I lead. Questions. You follow. This attitude spills into every area of your life. Think about relationships. You won't always feel loving. You won't always feel patient. Questions. But showing up for your partner or family during their tough moments strengthens the bond. A relationship doesn't grow through feelings. It grows through presence. Think about work. Questions. Even the best professionals face days of exhaustion or frustration. But if you show up with sincerity, even when the mind argues, you build an unshakable work ethic. Questions. Such people rise faster than talented people who work only when they feel like it. The secret is simple. When you show up, you activate momentum. When you don't, you slow everything down. Questions. Most people quit right before their breakthrough simply because they stopped showing up. They listened to temporary emotions and sacrificed long-term progress. Remember, emotions change. Questions, conditions change, moods change, but your commitment must remain constant. Even if you can't give 100% every day, give something. On tough days, your 30% effort is still more powerful than 0%. Questions, because the habit remains alive. Showing up builds consistency. Consistency builds identity. Identity builds success. So the next time you don't feel like doing something meaningful, questions, smile and do it anyway. That single act of showing up on a bad day is what separates you from millions of others. Show up, not for the world, but for yourself. Questions. The human mind is brilliant, but it is also mischievous. It loves comfort, avoids discomfort, and finds creative excuses to escape effort. When you decide to do something meaningful, study, questions, work out, meditate, wake up early, your mind will often resist. It will try to negotiate it. Questions. Let's do it later, Ba. You're too tired. You deserve a break. This can wait. This negotiation is the biggest enemy of consistency. Your mind is not trying to harm you. Questions. It's simply wired for survival, not success. Its job is to keep you safe, not strong. Safe means comfortable. Strong means uncomfortable. Questions. And that's why your mind resists anything that challenges your comfort zone. Imagine you set an alarm for 5 a.m. The night before, you feel excited. But when the alarm rings, questions, your mind goes into negotiation mode instantly. 5 more minutes. Sleep is important. It's too cold. You can start tomorrow. Your mind wins and your goal loses. Questions. The key is to train your mind, not argue with it. When a parent tells a child to brush their teeth, they don't ask, "Do you feel like brushing today?" They simply say, questions, "Do it." The child complains but eventually obeys. And guess what? Over time, brushing becomes automatic. Your mind is exactly like that child, stubborn, emotional, resistant. If you negotiate questions, it wins. If you instruct it calmly and consistently, it learns. Think about going to the gym. Some days your body is fine, but your mind starts creating excuses. Questions, it's too late, it's too early, it's too crowded, I'm not in the mood. Today was stressful. If you argue, you lose. If you simply say, questions, your mind follows. The mind may resist the first 10 steps, but after that it cooperates. Students face this too. When they sit to study, questions, their mind suddenly becomes a master planner. First clean the table, check your phone, or maybe have a snack. Let's watch one quick video. By the time they return, questions, the motivation has vanished. The solution is not negotiation, it is action. Start immediately. Once the book opens, the mind settles. Even when it comes to diet, the mind resists change. Questions. The moment you decide to eat healthy, your mind remembers every food you ever liked. It becomes an emotional expert. Questions. You deserve this pizza. Just this once, or you've had a hard day. Tomorrow will be strict, but tomorrow turns into next week. And next week into never. Questions. Training the mind means building awareness. This is my mind trying to escape discomfort. Once you recognize the trick, you take back control. Meditation is another example. Questions. The moment you try to sit quietly, your mind becomes noisy. It brings back old memories, random worries, new plans, unnecessary thoughts. You feel you can't meditate. Questions. But meditation isn't about having a silent mind. It's about training the mind to sit despite the noise. No negotiation, just practice. Over time. Questions. When you consistently instruct your mind instead of arguing with it, something beautiful happens. The mind becomes your servant instead of your master. It begins to listen. It becomes disciplined. Questions. It stops resisting and starts cooperating. Training the mind builds confidence. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to feel powerful. Questions. You begin to recognize that your emotions do not control your actions. You do. The mind will always resist effort in the beginning. It will always choose comfort first. Questions. But if you train it every day with small, firm actions, it becomes your greatest ally. The secret is simpler. When the mind resists, don't negotiate. Take action. When the mind creates excuses, questions, smile and move forward. When the mind argues, don't answer. Instruct. Consistency becomes easier when your mind learns who is in charge. Train your mind daily. Soon, it will obey effortlessly. Questions. And once the mind is trained, no goal is out of reach.